Hello everyone, welcome to Lokayan IS Academy. My name is Praveen Akkanauru. Many of you must have attempted today's UPSC preliminary paper, and many of you must be curious about the nature of the question paper, right? So without further introduction, we are going to see the questions from science and technology section, right? And other sections will be covered by other faculty members of Lokayan IS Academy. So first of all, I'll ask you that UPSC mentions general science in their syllabus, right? But if you see for few years, the emphasis has been on the technology part rather than general science part. Actually, general science consists of our basic science subject, that is physics, chemistry, and biology. And usually questions used to be asked on these sections, but for last few years, technology has overshadowed the general science part. Technology consists of few of the following chapters, that is information technology, space technology, biotechnology, nuclear technology, etc. This year also, majority questions were from these sections. Very few questions were asked from general science. There were few questions from organic chemistry, but they were like an exception. If you see question paper of 2022, you will find many questions on IT, that is information technology. But this year, they haven't asked a single question on that topic. Actually, many of us were curious that this year all the chat was about chat GPT and AI. So many of us were curious that some question, at least one or two questions will be asked on artificial intelligence or chat GPT. But UPSC is cleverer than us. They guessed our anticipation and they haven't asked any question on that. So many questions on space, defense, nuclear technology, etc. So let's see what the first question from science tech part was. I am referring to the D set of UPSC preliminary paper. D set. So if you have another set in your hand, then check the questions accordingly. In D set, question number 16 was, with reference to coal-based thermal power plants in India, with reference to coal-based thermal power plants in India, consider the following statements. So this question was from energy section. Energy. So first statement is, none of them uses seawater. None of the coal-based thermal power plants uses seawater. Second statement is, none of them is set up in water-stressed district. And third statement is, none of them is privately owned. Now see, these are extreme statements. These are extreme statements. Always be aware of the extremities of the statements. When they say none, give a little more attention to those statements. None of them uses seawater. Now, if you must have read OTEC, the term OTEC. What does OTEC means? Currently, or I think in the month of April, some news came regarding OTEC. OTEC is nothing but Ocean Thermal Energy Conversion. Ocean thermal energy conversion. What does it mean? This technology uses the seawater or water from the oceans and the temperature gradient in that water, because the temperature of the surface water is always warmer, and the temperature of the deeper water is cooler. So that temperature gradient is used to generate power. That temperature gradient is used to activate the heat engine and thus to create the power, and such power plant is established in Lakshadweep. Kavaratti, Lakshadweep, right? So in April, the news regarding that came. So none of them use seawater is a wrong statement, because there are few power plants, few coal-based thermal power plants which uses seawater as one of the ingredient or one of the additive, right? So first statement is wrong. Second statement, none of them is set up in water stressed district. The major hindrance regarding thermal power plant is scarcity of water. Nearly 40% thermal power plants are in danger of closure due to scarcity of water. So second extreme statement is also wrong. And third is none of them is privately owned. None of them is privately owned, but we know that there are few power plants owned by Adani, Tata, which are thermal power plants, and those power plants are privately owned. So all these three statements are incorrect. Question is, how many of the above statements are correct? So none. None of the above statements are correct. Right? So this was question number 16. Question number 17. Olbachia method is sometimes talked about the reference to which one of the following? Olbachia method. This year many questions were concept based. Some concept is given and you are asked the usage or meaning of that concept. Now Olbachia method, if you haven't read this word, or if you haven't gone through this concept, then it is very difficult, because then you cannot even guess. All the four options are different than each other. There is no connection in the options. So Olbachia method, actually Olbachia is the name of the bacteria. It is the name of a bacteria which is inserted in Aedes aegypti. What is Aedes aegypti? It is a mosquito which causes dengue and other viral diseases. So to curb the spread of these diseases, Wolbachia bacteria is inserted inside Aedes aegypti mosquito, and when it reproduces, then the impact of the viruses gets diluted. This bacteria fights with the viruses inside those Aedes aegypti mosquitoes, and due to this, various viral diseases like dengue, chikungunya, yellow fever, etc. are curbed. So Olbachia method is related to controlling the viral diseases spread by mosquitoes. Option number A. Next is question number 19. Remember, this is set D. This is set D. Question number 19. It is again concept-based question. Question number 20 is again concept-based question. So question number 19 is aerial metagenomics. Aerial metagenomics best refers to which one of the following situations? Aerial metagenomics. What does metagenomics means? Metagenomics is nothing but study of DNA. Study of DNA, right? And aerial is related to air. So those two words are self-explanatory, and that gives your answer, that is collecting DNA samples from air in a habitat at one go. Collecting DNA samples from air in a habitat at one go. Option number A. All the other options are different. Understanding the genetic makeup of avian species, of a habitat, using airborne devices to collect blood samples from moving animals? No. Sending drones to inaccessible areas to collect plant and animal samples from land surfaces and water bodies? No, because metagenomics is nothing but it is the study of your DNA. So aerial metagenomics, the answer will be option number E. Question number 20 is again related to DNA, right? Microsatellite DNA is used in the case of which one of the following? What do you mean by microsatellite DNA? It is part of a DNA which repeats itself. It is a smaller part of DNA which repeats itself along the generations. That is called microsatellite DNA. That means it replicates itself across the various generations from father to his son or from father to his daughter, right? So in short, it is related to inheritance. In the study of inheritance, microsatellite DNA can be useful. So that can be used in studying the evolutionary relationship among various species of fauna. Studying the evolutionary relationship. Studying the evolutionary relationship in itself means it is the study of inheritance. That is study of the ages. So studying the evolutionary relationship among various species of fauna is the correct answer. That is option number A. Option number A. Microsatellite DNA is useful in the study of inheritance. That is what qualities are replicated in the generations. So that is nothing but the studying the evolutionary relationship among various species of fauna. So option number A. Let's move to question number 33. It is related to carbon fibers. Fibers that contains majorly carbon as its ingredient or base element, that are used in the manufacture of components used in the automobiles and aircraft. That is the most important usage of carbon fibers. And why carbon fibers are used instead of other fibers? Because of its greater tensile strength and other important qualities. It is better as compared to other fibers. That is why carbon fibers are used in manufacture of components used in automobiles and aircraft. That is correct. That are the primary usages of carbon fibers. Now second option says carbon fibers once used cannot be recycled. Now this is a confusing question because it says cannot be recycled, right? But if you study carbon fibers, then you will come to know that recycling carbon fibers is very difficult. It is very difficult, but not impossible. It is very difficult, but not impossible. Right? Some ways scientists have found to recycle it, though they are not commonly used, but there are some ways available. It is true that once it is used in aircraft as a component, then it cannot be recycled in the same aircraft, right? But it can be recycled and used for some other purpose, right? But this second option says carbon fibers once used cannot be recycled. It is an extreme statement. So my verdict is only statement 1 is correct, right? Some keys may say that both are correct, but second one is an extreme statement. So option number A is correct. So 33, option number A. Now question number 34. It is related to, see again, all questions consist of some important concept. Question 33 was related to carbon fibers. Previous questions were regarding DNA. Now next question is regarding accelerometer. Accelerometer. What does accelerometer does? What does accelerometer do? It checks the acceleration of a body in its real frame and acts accordingly. Actually, it is called proper acceleration. So what does it mean? A simple day-to-day life application is when we rotate our mobile, our frame or our screen rotates accordingly. So that is the usage of accelerometer. It senses that your mobile has been rotated so that for the sake of convenience of the user, it rotates its monitor or its screen, right? So that is the usage of accelerometer. So it has various uses. Detection of car crash collision, which results in the deployment of airbags. There also accelerometer is used because sudden change of pace happens when accident happens, right? So that means it senses that sudden change and accordingly airbags are opened. So it is the usage of accelerometer. Detection of accidental free fall of a laptop. If your laptop is falling from certain height, then its speed increases, and that speed is sensed by the accelerometer sensor available in that laptop or that gadget. So it shuts down its functions and motherboard, and every important activity is saved accordingly. So it results in the immediate turning off of the hard drive. That's why you will not lose your important data. So accelerometer does that also. Detection of the tilt detection. I just told you the application. When you tilt your mobile, the screen also tilts itself. So detection of the tilt of the smartphone, which results in the rotation of display between portrait and landscape mode, is an example of the accelerometer. So all three are the functions of the accelerometer. Yes. Next is question number 36. Again, it is related to space. See, what does question 36 says? Three concepts are given here. Three objects in the space: Cepheids, nebula, and pulsars. What does these things mean? Cepheids. Now, question is, how many of the above pairs are correctly matched? They haven't asked exactly which pair. They have just asked the number of pairs which are correct, right? So 1, 2, 3, or none. Cepheid, giant clouds of dust and gas in space. Giant clouds of dust and gas in space. But we know that this is definition of nebula. Nebula is nothing but giant clouds of dust and gas in space. Cepheid is nothing but stars which brighten and dim periodically. Those are called Cepheids. And those stars, they brighten and dim periodically. That's why scientists or astronomers can decide the distance between Earth and those stars. That became useful for them. So these definitions are interchanged, so these are not correct. Third are pulsars. Pulsars are neutron stars that are formed when massive stars run out of fuel and collapse. This is right. This is right option, because these stars, they are formed when massive stars, they die out. They run out of fuel. That means they die out. They are formed, and these are not visible. These stars are not visible, as well as they emit radio waves. So these are called pulsars. So out of all these three definitions, only one is correctly matched. So only one, option number A, is correct. Yes. Question number 37. Which one of the following countries has its own satellite navigation system? Own satellite navigation. How many satellite navigation systems are there? Right? So global satellite navigation system are owned by 3 to 4 countries: US, China, Russia, and European Union. Right? These 4 countries control, or they have their satellite navigation, global satellite navigation system. The satellite navigation system of US is called GPS, and that of China is called BEI, BIDU, and Russia Global Navigation Satellite System, and European Union has recently launched its own satellite navigation system that is called Galileo. But along with them, there are 2 regional satellite navigation system. Regional satellite navigation system. Which are those? One is owned by Japan, that is called Koshi Zenith satellite system, or QZSS, Koshi Zenith satellite system, and another is owned by India, that is IRNSS, Indian Regional Navigation Satellite System. Right? So in the option, India is not there, so correct option will be Japan. Japan has its own regional satellite navigation system, that is QZSS or Koshi Zenith satellite system. Again from space technology, next question number 38. See, there are 2 statements given. Ballistic missiles are jet propelled at subsonic speeds throughout their flights, while cruise missiles are rocket powered only in the initial phase of flight. If you know this concept, these are very basic concepts. Ballistic missiles are not jet propelled, but cruise missiles are jet propelled. Right? Ballistic missiles are rocket powered. So they have interchanged the purpose or the method. They have interchanged the way they function. That is why this is a wrong statement. Ballistic missiles are not jet propelled, but cruise missiles are jet propelled. And ballistic missiles are rocket powered. Ballistic missiles are those which travel in this fashion. Agni 5 is a medium range supersonic cruise missile, while BrahMos is a solid fuel intercontinental ballistic missile. Again, Agni 5 is a ballistic missile. Its range is 7 to 8,000 kilometers. Right? And it is not supersonic, it is subsonic. Right? Subsonic means what? 2 to 3 Mach जिसका speed रहता है. Mach is unit of speed of sound. One's speed of sound is called 1 Mach. 1 Mach is equal to 340 meter per second. Right? And BrahMos is a mid-ranged cruise missile. It is supersonic. Supersonic means its speed is between 5 to 24 Mach. Correct? So they have interchanged. Again, the description of Agni 5 is given to BrahMos and vice versa. So this statement is also wrong. So both, which of the statements given above are correct? So neither one nor two. Neither one nor two. Question number 39. Consider the following statements regarding mercury pollution. Now there are few overlapping questions also. Sometimes you might get confused whether this is from environment or whether this is from science. but that's okay. The thing is, we have to cover those questions. So we are talking about mercury pollution. Mercury is a liquid metal, right? So excess of mercury causes various health problems. Gold mining. So first statement is gold mining activity is a source of mercury pollution in the world. Yes, sources of mercury pollution are gold mining, coal power plants, or all type of all types of fossil fuel power plants, right? So first statement says gold mining activity is a source of mercury pollution in the world. Yes. Coal based thermal power plants cause mercury pollution. Yes, because coal is a fossil fuel, so it causes mercury pollution. There is no known safe level of exposure to mercury, right? So there might be a confusion. Some might say, how can this happen? There must be some higher level. Beyond that, exposure of mercury must be harmful. But actually, this is also correct. There is no known. In various places, various degrees of mercury are prescribed. Somewhere they will say 5 microgram per liter will be the level, higher level. Somewhere it is 10, somewhere it is 20. But nobody knows what is the safe level to exposure. Whether, though it is a smaller level of exposure, but if it is chronic or it is persistent, then that will also cause some damage. So all three statements are correct. So option number C will be correct option. Question number 40. With reference to green hydrogen, consider the following statements. What do you mean by green hydrogen? In itself, it has the word green. That means it has been produced how sustainably. So the hydrogen which is produced from renewable energy is called green hydrogen. There is also gray hydrogen also. What do you mean by gray hydrogen? It is a hydrogen which is produced by vaporizing the natural gas, right? So carbon emission of green hydrogen is much lesser than gray hydrogen. So first statement is it can be used directly as a fuel for internal combustion. Yes, correct. Green hydrogen can be directly used as fuel for internal combustion. It can be used in the hydrogen fuel cell to run vehicles. Both are correct options. And if you are confused with the third option, sometimes the kind of options will help you because there is only one, only two, all three, or none. So options are quite direct. So if first and third is right, then second is going to be right. So all three are correct here. All three are correct. Next question. Question number 56. Now these are direct questions. These are factual questions. See, ilmenite and rutile abundantly available in certain coastal tracts of India are rich sources of which one of the following? Ilmenite and rutile. Ilmenite and rutile abundantly available in certain coastal tracts of India are rich sources of which one of the following? Answer is titanium. Titanium is found in the coastal area of Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, and Odisha. Right? So answer is titanium. Where titanium is used, it is used in surgical operations method. It is useful in connecting bones. So in various surgeries, it can be used, and other major use of titanium is in paint. It is a titanium oxide is a major pigment. It is a major pigment used in paint. So keep this additional information also in mind. Sometimes they ask the region or geography, sometimes they ask the usage. So question number 56, answer is titanium. Question number 57, again direct question. About 3/4 of world's cobalt, a metal required for the manufacture of batteries for electric vehicles, electric motor vehicles. Now electric vehicles are in news every day, we read something regarding that. So they have asked a question on the periphery of that area, right? So about 3/4 of world's cobalt, 3/4 is found in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Around 70 to 75% cobalt is found in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Cobalt, like iron, it is कोबाल्ट का यूज क्या है? बेसिक यूज उसका मैग्नेट बनाने के लिए, एंड इट कैन बी अलॉयड विथ एल्यूमिनियम एंड अदर मेटल्स आल्सो, बट मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट यूज ऑफ कोबाल्ट इज in the making or in the formation of magnets. So this is question number 57. Next, question number 71. Question number 71. Now it is from nuclear part of the chapter. India, read statement 1. India, despite having uranium deposits, depends on coal for most of its electricity production. Right? Statement 2. Uranium enriched to the extent of at least 60% is required for the production of electricity. Read both the questions very, very carefully. India, despite having uranium deposits, does India have uranium deposits? Yes. In Andhra Pradesh, we found uranium reserves. Does India depend on coal for most of its electricity production? Yes. So both statements in itself are correct. That means this entire statement is correct, right? Though we found uranium reserves, we still depend on coal. More than 60% of our energy is generated from coal, right? So first statement is correct. Second statement, uranium enriched to the extent of at least 60% is required for the production of electricity. Is it so? No. Only 2 to 3% enriched uranium is enough for the power plant. Only 2 to 3%. 60% is way ahead of this number. Even for nuclear weapon, 20% enriched or 20% or more is quite comfortably enough for preparing a nuclear weapon. So 60% is a very bigger number. So second statement is wrong. What is the question here? Which one of the following is correct in respect of the above statements? So only statement 1 is correct, but statement 2 is incorrect. And last question from this section, question number 80. Consider the following: aerosols, foam agents, fire retardants, and lubricants. In the making of many of the above are hydrofluorocarbons used. In the making of how many of the above are hydrofluorocarbons used? So in the making of, what do you mean by hydrofluorocarbon? It is the group of industrial chemical. Hydrofluorocarbon is nothing but industrial chemical which is primarily used in refrigeration and cooling. Which is primarily used in refrigeration and cooling, but hydrofluorocarbons are also used in the preparation of aerosols, foam agents, and fire retardants. So but I have not found whether it is used in the lubricants or not. So 1, 2, 3. Only 3 of the above 4 options are correct. So for the question number 80, option number C is correct. Hydrofluorocarbons are used in the making of or in the production of aerosols, foam agents, and fire retardants. So these are the questions from science and technology part. You must have understood that very less questions were from the basic science. There were Literally no questions from physics. There were no questions from biology. So this is the nature of paper, and this is going to be the nature of paper henceforth. So pay more attention to the technology part, pay more attention to the dynamic part, that is more than static. Dynamic part means which is related to the current affairs. Try to blend your current affair with your GS subjects. It is going to be useful in the mains also. So I hope I have solved every question up to your satisfaction, and all the best for your further exams. Thank you.